I asked a question in my last video whether a person needed an education in order to succeed in life, and the answer still is yes and no. The answer may depend on the question in view to determine what it means to succeed. Some jobs may teach their employees a certain skill in order to get the job done, and some jobs may require an education before you are hired for the job, but all jobs aren't created equally. But most jobs require for a person to have the ability to do the job at hand. But if you have the ability to learn on a lot of jobs, you will do well. So it may become a convenience to a person with an education more so than a requirement. My family would always stress the importance of getting an education. So after a slow start early in my life, I finished high school and began taking a few college courses. I never had a run-in with the law except one brief moment, but my conscience wouldn't allow me to. So my coming up at the age of 17, 18 years of age, during my dark times, I never officially broke the law doing anything wrong. So I joined the Army to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet. The Army was a lifeline for me because I needed to have control of my own life instead of depending on others to control me. But early on, after getting out of the Army, after serving 4 years, I did enroll into a couple of colleges, but now I had a new wife and a new baby that took preference over everything. One job I landed paid well, but the shift I was at wouldn't allow me to continue school unless I did it through the programs they had set up. But before I got started, I decided to leave and go to another company. The job I went to paid well, and many people who had an education came to the job because it did pay well. We did have to go through exam testing that would determine your ability to perform the job at hand. So this job being my last stop, I ended up with 38 plus 4 years of military, 42 years of total government service, and I count all my time spent there as a blessing from Yahuwah. So all true blessings is from Yahuwah. Alahim 101. Raise a shout for Yahuwah, all the arrest. Serve Yahuwah with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know Yahuwah, he is Alahim. He has made us, and we are his. His people are the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. For Yahuwah is good, his kindness is everlasting, and his truth to all generations. There were men throughout history whom were claiming being men of Alahim, but men that were anointed like Elihu had special abilities that caused people to believe in the power of Yahuwah. The stories we read about Elijah parting the river waters to walk through, bringing the child back from the dead, causing a full army to land in their enemy hands without a single sign of bloodshed, is plenty evidence that Elijah was a man from Alahim. In today's world, how can you truly know if someone claiming to be from Alahim is truly a man from Alahim? There are men who talk the talk, but do they walk the walk? There's nothing wrong with being a sheep or thinking like a sheep, as long as you have the right shepherd leading you to the promised land. 2 Malachim 7. And Elijah said, Hear the words of Yahuwah. Thus say Yahuwah, about this time tomorrow a sale of fine flour for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, at the gates of Shamaron. And the officers on whom hand the king leaned answered the man of Alahim and said, Look, if Yahuwah is making wonders in the Shamayin, shall this word come true? And he said, Look, you are about to see it with your eyes, but not eat of it. And there were 4 lepers made at the entrance of the gate, and they said to each other, Why are we here, sitting here until we are dead? If we shall say, Let us go into the city, the scarcity of food is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we shall sit here, we shall die. And now, come, let us surrender to the armies of the Arameans. If they keep us alive, we live, and if they kill us, we shall die. So at twilight they rose up to go to the camp of the Arameans, and when they had come to the outskirts of the Arameans' camp, look, no one was there. For Yahuwah has caused the army of the Arameans to hear the noise of chariots, and the noise of horses, the noise of a great army, and they said to each other, Look, the king of Yeshurun has hired against us the kings of the Hittites, and the kings of the Mishram to come against us. So they rose up and fled at twilight, and left the camp as it is, their tents, and their horses, and their donkeys, and they fled for their lives. And when these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, They went into one tent and ate and drank, and took from there silver and gold and garments. And they went and hid them, and came back and went into another tent, and took from there and went and hid it. Then they said to each other, "We are not doing right. This yom is a yom of sorrow, and we are keeping silent. And if we wait until morning light, then evil shall come upon us. And now, come, let us go and inform the house of the king." And they came and called the gatekeepers of the city and informed them, saying, "We went to the camp of Aram, and look, there is not a man or a voice of a man, only horses tied and donkeys tied, and the tents as they were." And the gatekeepers called, and they informed the house of the king inside. So the king rose up in the ladle and said to his servants, "Let me now inform you what the Arameans have done to us. They know that we are starving, so they have gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, when they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive and enter into the city." And one of the servants answered and said, "Please, let us take 5 of the horses that are left in the city. Look, they are like the entire throng of Yeshurun that are left in it. Look, they are like the entire throng of Yeshurun left from those who are consumed. So let us send and see." They then took 2 chariots with horses, and the king sent them in the direction of the camp of Aram, saying, "Go and see." And they went after them to the yard, and look, all the way was littered with garments and weapons which the Arameans had thrown away in their haste. And the messengers returned and reported to the king. Then the people went out and plundered the camp of Aram. So a seah of flour was for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, according to the word of Yahuwah. And the king had appointed an officer on whose hand he had leaned to be in charge of the gate. But the people trampled him in the gate, and he died, as the man of Alahim had said, who spoke when the king came down to him. And it came to be as the man of Alahim had spoken to the king, saying, 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, and a seah of fine flour for a shekel, at this time tomorrow in the gates of Shamaron. That the officer answered the man of Alahim and said, "Now look, if Yahuwah is making wonders in the Shamarim, is it according to this word?" And he had said, "Look, you are about to see it with your own eyes, but not eat of it." And so it came to be for him, for the people trampled him at the gate, and he died. Yeshurun had walls around the city to protect it from outside threats. No country was successful defeating Yeshurun unless it could penetrate the walls of the city. So one tactic used to defeat a country like Yeshurun was to wait it out and starve the people that were protected inside the walls. This was the case what the Arameans did to Yeshurun. They built camps with armies to surround the city to starve them out. Yeshurun went through a trial period where the people went through many afflictions before Yahuwah answered their call for help. Yahuwah didn't need an army from another nation to rescue Yeshurun. He used his own army. That caused the Arameans to think they were outnumbered, so they fled for their lives. Shaitan wants to starve out Yahuwah's set-apart children by setting up roadblocks that prevent them from being fed Yahuwah's word. So how did the Aramean civilization help shape history? The Arameans was a Semitic tribal people from an eastern ancient land, appearing in 12th century BCE. They called Central Syria home, but 9th century BCE they established powerful city-states with Aram Damascus under King Hazael leading the way. But by 8th century BCE, mighty Neo-Assyrian Empire conquered these city-states. This conquest helped to spread the Aramaic language far and wide. The Aramaic language became the official language of the Neo-Babylonians and the Achaemenid Empire, used in administration and daily life. As centuries passed, Aramaic communities faced Hellenization and Romanization before the rise of Christianity. Later, Ishmaelization and Arabization further transformed these communities. Today, modern Arabic-speaking groups like the Maronites and the people of Malula keep the ancient heritage alive. Alahim 111. Praise Yah, I thank Yahuwah with all my heart in the company of the street and of the assembly. Great are the works of Yahuwah, searched by all who delight in them. Splendor and greatness are his work, and his obedience stands forever. He made the wonders to be remembered. Yahuwah shows favor and is compassionate. He has given food to those who fear him. He remembers his covenant forever. He has shown his people the power of his works, to give to them the inheritance of the Goyim. The works of his hands are truth and lawfulness. All his orders are trustworthy. They are upheld forever and ever, performed in truth and straightness. He set redemption to his people. He has commanded his covenant forever. Kadesh and awesome is his name. The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. All those doing them have a good understanding. His praise is standing forever. So those who receive an understanding of Yahuwah's Pasora receives wisdom. Like it said in Matthew 13, the seed that fell on good ground are those who receive the word and have understanding. If we take note in the early Yemen of Christianity, people weren't allowed to think for themselves. They followed the way they were told to follow. We were hoodwinked early on through history to accept the name, and the KJV and others to accept the name Lord God and Jesus, which there is evidence that the name Jesus' origin came from Zeus, which is a Greek deity. They even acknowledged Jesus' birthday on the same day as Zeus' birthday, December the 25th, and you can see how point A is taking you to another place other than point B. A lot of people can't get past this point because they have a personal experience with the name Jesus. I myself personally had some experience with acknowledging the name, but the same way I experience good things, I experience bad things. Remember, Shaitan wants to be like the Most High, so he set up stumbling blocks. The Pasora says Shaitan comes with the gospel so close to the truth that if possible even Yahuwah's elect would be deceived, because the whole arrest has gone after the lie, which was set up by the fourth beast system. But the more you come into the truth, the less the fourth beast system have a hold on you. But like the movie The Matrix, you must be willing to take the blue pill that will allow you to see past lies. The blue pill for me was staying in prayer, seeking for truth. I would always find myself praying to the Father saying, Yahuwah, show me your truth. It may take a while for him to answer, but he will answer, so pray without ceasing. There are some good teachers out there that I took notes from, but make sure they are aligned with Yahuwah. Yahusha says, he who is first will be last, and last will be first. Malachi 4, for look, the Yom shall come burning like a furnace, and all the proud and every lawless one shall be stubble, and the Yom that shall come shall burn them up, says Yahuwah Shabbath, which leaves them neither root nor branch. But you who fear my name, the servants of obedience shall arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go out and leap for joy like calves from the stall. And you shall trample the lawless ones, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet on the Yom that I do this, says Yahuwah Shabbath. Remember the Torah of Moshe, my servant, which I commanded him in Korah for all Yisrael, laws and directives. See, I am sending you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and awesome Yom of Yahuwah. He shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their father, lest I come and smite their rest with utter destruction. So who are we referring to when we speak of those that are following the mark of the beast, which number is 666, the pride of man? We must first recognize what is the beast before we can understand its mark. If we go back to the book of Daniel 7, where it speaks of the four beasts in the dream, which was revealed as kings of kingdoms, these great beasts, which are four kings which rise up from the arrest. Kings rule over kingdoms, so a beast can represent kings, kingdoms, or governments. So the mark spoken of in Revelation, speaking of the beast, must be referring to a king, kingdom, or like a form of government. Revelation speaks of those carrying this mark in their forehead and in their right hand, which indicates a person's will to submit and their will to work. The forehead indicates their submission to the beast, and their hand indicates a person's will to work for the beast. The number indicates a man, and this number is the pride of man, meaning the man is not humbling themselves to Yahuwah, but is serving the beast, which gets its power from the dragon, which is the devil. Daniel 7:18 through 23, then the Kadesh one of the Most High shall receive the reign, and possess the reign forever, even forever and ever. Then I desired for certainty concerning the fourth beast, which was different from all the others, very fearsome, with his teeth of iron and his nails of bronze, which devoured, crushed, and trampled down the rest with his feet. And concerning the 10 horns that were on his head, and of the other horn that came up, before which 3 fell, This horn which had eyes, and a mouth which spoke great words, which appearance was greater than his fellows. I was looking, and this horn was fighting against the Kadesh ones, and was prevailing against them, until the ancients of Yemen came, and the Kadesh ones took possession of the ring. This is what he said: the fourth beast is the fourth rain on Eris, which is different from all other rains, and it devours all the Eris, tramples it down, and crushes it. So the fourth beast is a kingdom different from all other kingdoms before it. It tramples them down and crushes all other kingdoms. The fourth beast was and still is diverse from all other beasts on the Eris, but I believe it's a part of the beasts that came before it. The total number of beasts spoken of in Daniel are 4, and the total number of heads is 7. This is the same number of heads in Revelations, which speaks of the dragon with 7 heads. This dragon is a beast that had 10 horns, horns representing power. 3 horns were rooted up, and a little horn rose up in the midst of the horns rooted up. The little horn rose with power, speaking words of lies and blasphemy. Yehuda, aka Jerusalem, is the most debated city and land in all history. For centuries and even millenniums, Yehuda has been ruled through power from many religious groups. In 1948, Yehuda, aka Jerusalem, Israel, once again became a nation after 2,000 years of non-existence. Before that time, Yehuda was occupied by other groups of people, mainly non-Jewish people, but they weren't called Jews 2,000 years ago. Alahim 37. Do not fret because of evildoers. Do not be envious of workers of lawlessness, for they soon wither like grass and fade like green plants. Trust in Yahuwah and do good, dwell in their rest, and feed on steadfastness. And delight yourself in Yahuwah, and let him give you the desire of your heart. Commit your way to Yahuwah and trust in him, and he does it. And he shall bring forth your obedience as the light, and your lawfulness as midyam. Rest in Yahuwah and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man doing wicked devices. Abstain from displeasure and forsake wrath. Do not fret also to do evil. For evildoers are cut off, but those who wait for Yahuwah, they shall inherit their rest. Yet a little while, and the lawless is no more, and he shall look on his place, but it is not. But the meek ones shall inherit their rest, and delight themselves in plenty of peace. The lawbreakers plot against the obedient, and gnashes his teeth at him. Yahuwah laughs at him, for he sees his yom is coming. The lawless have drawn their sword, and have bent their bow, to cause the poor and the needy to fall, to slay those who walk straightly. Their sword does enter into their own heart, and their bows are broken. Better is the little of the obedient one than the riches of many lawbreakers. For the arms of the lawbreakers are broken, but Yahuwah sustains the obedient. Yahuwah knows the yemen of the perfect, and their inheritance is forever. They are not ashamed in the time of evil, and in the yemen of scarcities of food they are satisfied. But the lawless ones shall perish, and the enemies of Yahuwah. Like the splinters of metals they vanish, like smoke they vanish away. The lawbreakers is borrowing and does not repay, but the obedient ones show favor and gives. For his blessed ones inherited the arrest, but those cursed by him are cut off. The steps of a man are ordered by Yahuwah, and he delight in his way. Though he falls, he is not cast down, for Yahuwah is supporting his hand. I have been young and now am old, yet I have not seen the obedience forsaken, or his seed begging bread. All young long he is showing his favor and lending, and his seed is for a blessing. Turn away from evil and do good, and dwell forever. For Yahuwah loves lawfulness and does not forsake his kind ones. They shall be guarded forever, but the seed of the lawbreakers is cut off. The obedient shall inherit the arrest, and dwell in it forever. The mouth of the obedient speaks wisdom, and his tongue talks of lawfulness. The Torah of his Alahim is in his heart. His steps do not slide. The wicked one is watching for the obedient, and is seeking to slay him. Yahuwah does not leave him in his hand, or let him be declared lawless when he is judged. Wait on Yahuwah and guard his ways, and he shall exalt you to inherit the arrest, when the lawbreaker is in great power, and spinning himself like a native green tree. Yet he passed away, and see, he was not, and I sought him, but he was not found. Watch the perfect and observe the straight, for the latter end of each is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together, the latter end of the lawless shall be cut off. But the deliverance of the obedient is from Yahuwah, their strength in time of distress. And Yahuwah does help them and deliver them. He delivers them from the lawbreakers and saves them, because they took refuge in him. Thanks for watching and thanks for sharing. If Yahuwah is willing, I'll see you on the next video. So until then, stay blessed, be blessed, and continue to be blessed. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah. You have people that like playing the hate card every chance they get. They say there's collusion going on in the professional football league, saying that they are targeting black quarterbacks, when in the last 3 years, the number one pick were black quarterbacks. If there were collusion going on between black quarterbacks, then why has the last 3 quarterbacks, which has been black, been drafted number 1 overall 3 years straight? But people hear these stories and run with them, even people that don't know much about football. It's better to say there's collusion going on against a family that happens to be black, instead of saying the collusion is because they are black. Because drafting 3 black quarterbacks number 1 overall in the last 3 drafts and saying there's collusion going on between black quarterbacks just doesn't add up.